Next on Life Focus. People live longer than ever before.
Well, I just passed 91 in March, and I'm working 92.
I've never been so relaxed in my life.
Remember, one day you will be this old.
But despite the trials of getting older, seniors learn to enjoy their golden years.
Look what I found.
Oh, wow.
Look,
Yeah, it looks like it could be alive.
As far as his spirit and his love for life, that has not changed.
Elders and their caregivers learn to face life's challenges with a smile.
I'm just a simple person and I love life.
I go from being annoyed to accepting, and it's almost like a switch goes off.
I think it's time for us to take another look at how we walk through the process, how we respect our parents, how we respect their legacy, how we honor their lifestyle, no matter what it is.
3 families tell their stories and their strategies for staying young at heart. Next on Life Focus.
Life Focus is sponsored in part by the Salvation Army, also sponsored in part by Porchlight Counseling Services, the Cassid Foundation in memory of Elizabeth, Peter, Hank, Sam, Joe, and Ben Willis, CADCOR, connecting communities to reduce substance abuse and violent crime, and the Edgar and Elsa Prince Foundation, a civic-minded organization supporting the community through faith.
Hello, I'm Dan Meyer, and welcome to Life Focus. Over 15% of North Americans live beyond the retirement age. The U.S. Department of Labor says that number will increase in the next 30 years, with 1 out of 5 Americans living past the age of 65. With more of us living longer and healthier lives, obvious questions come to mind. How will you react when it comes time to retire? Or how will you help care for an aging parent? Will you be ready? Life Focus producers discovered that expecting change, both negative and positive, makes the aging process easier for everyone involved, especially for those taking care of their elderly parents. When Mona Hanine sat down with 91-year-old Ed Martinek, she didn't find him in a nursing home, but still living on his own.
91-year-old Ed Martinek grew up in a simpler time, when people seemed more civil.
A neighbor call you in and give you a little candy or an ice cream bar. Yeah, you don't see that anymore.
For over 50 years, Ed resided in this house.
When we moved here, I knew everybody. You know how many people I know now? About 4. And they're my age.
Ed says getting older means experiencing and accepting change.
We all have plans. If they don't work out, we're very disappointed. But in that interim, I think I've learned to accept those reversals.
But nothing could prepare him for the day he lost his wife, after nearly 50 years of marriage.
I'd walk about 5 miles a day, and the first day that I had taken a walk after she was gone, I couldn't get back into the house, because I knew she wasn't there. That was hurtful, really hurtful.
It was hard for a variety of different reasons, you know, to see 2 people that loved each other so much and just, you know, to see that loss. But the other then is to, who is he going to become now?
After his wife died, Ed's daughter, Chris, began thinking more about what might happen to her father.
I think what we did was really a good idea with the headstone, with the hammer on the one side for you and the other for Mom. I thought that was a great idea.
The first 6 months after my mom passed were really important, an important time for a lot of emotional decisions, I think, in our family as to how, and especially my dad. And it was hard to watch him go through making the decision that he's going to continue on.
The most objectionable time is supper time, you know, when we used to sit around the table with the kids and all. I have a ham sandwich or something, and I'm eating it alone, nobody to talk to, and it's kind of lonely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My goal, or my mission in with all my clients and all my families, is to really just make what I consider this late life transition process better.
Late life transition expert Nan Hayes works with adult children and their parents to help them embrace the last phase of life.
Whether that's helping families to recognize the stages that their parents are going through, the fears that their parents are facing, the stressors that their parents are facing, and how to help their parents overcome those stressors, or whether it's helping the older adults recognize what their options are.
Look what I found.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
Yeah, it looks like it could be alive.
Chris and her older sisters deliberated on the best living arrangements for their father. At first, living home alone did not seem like the best option.
We'll take a look at some of the things in the house that might trigger a falling hazard.
Oh, sure.
I'm scared for the fact that if there's an accident and there's nobody here because he's alone, that I may not know about it until too much time has passed.
Despite his daughter's concerns, Ed did not want to transition to an assisted living center or nursing home.
I used to go there to visit him, and I'd always come back home with a bad feeling. You know, nobody cared. There were no visitors.
Because Ed still gets around on his own and enjoys being at home, his daughters agreed on a home transition, a concept Nan Hayes coined.
You know, the important thing to remember, too, is as you leave one room to the next, we want to make sure that there's a light switch nearby. Those home transitions can be aging in place, which is choosing to stay in your home and make it safe for yourself. It's often taking another look at your home and saying, this is where I want to be, this is the community I want to be in. I've got my church down the street, I've got the same pharmacy that I've been going to for years. I still have maybe a couple neighbors left. Neighborhoods do tend to change as we age, but this is the place I know. You're in good physical condition, your mobility is good. As we walk through your living areas, I do see more of the area rugs in just about every doorway. Those are really slippery. Those don't have the rubber backs, even like the one in the kitchen.
I have concerns, and mostly my concerns are the fact that he is an independent senior that's 91 years old that still thinks he's 70 will use.
To alleviate those fears, Nan gives advice on creating a safe environment.
We can do a couple things. We can build a sloping ramp, so it would be a gradual coming all the way out and then blending into the drive. The other thing to remember, especially because you have the gas burners, is when you're cooking in the winter, if you're wearing sleeves, loose jackets, cardigans, and things like that, is to watch the flames. It's not role reversal. The parent becomes the child becomes the parent. It is about role acceptance. It's my parent is aging and they have different needs, but I need to hear how they would like to address those needs.
Needs such as making sure that Ed and Chris enjoy this phase in life.
Overall, the mission is to help educate them, again, on the same things. What are the stressors we're going through? How can we make this process better? How can we help older people feel they're in control of this late life? Because whenever we feel in control, our stress is diminished.
By accepting this transition process, Chris grew to love this time with her father.
Do I go to his doctor's appointments with him as frequently as I can to make sure that that's being monitored and, and he's getting, the refrigerator has eggs and milk in it? I mean, if you call that a caretaker, then yes, I call it being a daughter.
Nan helped this family transition and helped them both look forward to their future.
It's not being fearful of an end. It's embracing a whole next step.
A step Ed is grateful for.
Every night I thank the Lord for the day that He's given me. And it could be a day like this, rainy. It's still a beautiful day. Mm-hmm.
Are you touched by something you saw or heard on this program?
Join us today in bringing the hope we have in Christ to viewers around the world. We would love to hear from you by contacting us at www.lifefocus.tv, where you can request prayer, sign up for our newsletter, or submit a story idea. And if you provide a gift of any amount, we will send you this free gift of 101 Bible promises for your every need. Every card offers encouragement to bring you closer to God and find the answers you've been searching for. At the same time, you'll be helping others learn how our prayers to Christ bring solutions to our lives. Visit our website at www.lifefocus.tv and hit the donate button. Thank you for partnering with us and allowing us to continue this ministry, telling powerful stories of where faith and life intersect.
As you discovered, some people are healthy enough to live on their own with just a little bit of help from family. But what about situations where parents or our elderly relatives need more consistent care? As Mona Hanine found out, the role of caregiver can be filled with honor and pleasure, but also with some challenges.
The thing that makes me the saddest about it all is that you do lose your mother. You can't have something exciting in my life and tell her about it really, because she just won't really get it.
Lynn Crawley from Lafayette, Illinois, cares for her 84-year-old mother, diagnosed with dementia.
I didn't even put makeup on today.
Yes, you did. You look good.
You look so white.
You don't want to see it. You don't want them to be in that situation. You're kind of angry because you don't want them to be like that.
Lynn doesn't want to see the small changes in her mother, foreshadowing an unpredictable future.
To me, I'll be honest, I probably get frustrated, but then I just accepted it. Then you just have to keep an eye on everything. You have to go in there and just be there constantly.
Adult children as caregivers is a challenging position to be in. Typically because there's one sibling who gets chosen for the job. We usually call it the in-town daughter.
Lynn, who never left her hometown, struggles to run her own salon and care for her mother on a daily basis.
We think of our parents, our older generation sees their parents in their demise. And so as we start to age, I think a lot of focus is on the demise.
Taking care of my mother is very involved, but I have help with an agency that helps out. But it is something that is constantly and always on my mind, and I'm always, whatever decision I make for anything I'm going to do in my personal life, that is in the background.
She sometimes feels a sting of fear at the thought of losing her mother's personality.
I think it's just a sadness sometimes when I pull away at night and I drive home and I just think, shoot, she's just this different person. She has a different walk. Her smile is different when you take a picture.
Marilyn also notices a difference when she tries to communicate with others. Lynn manages to help her mother adjust.
My theory was not to try to cover it up, because I think then you end up getting more and more confused. So I just said, I'm having problems with my memory. I can't remember your name. And she's been awesome about it. It's been wonderful.
By accepting these changes, Lynn finds joy in caring for her mother. Nan says it's all part of embracing the third age of life.
It's forgetting that the journey continues all the way up to that point, and in many of our cases, we believe well beyond that point.
It's a long period of adjusting to change. How does that sound? But, you don't have every day that's a good day. But you learn to adjust. I don't complain too much, I don't think.
But she doesn't like depending on her children to get around.
When I wasn't able to get around, after my surgery or whatever it was, but then we decided that I needed somebody just to take me places, and they helped me out in the house.
Today, Marilyn's memory begins to wane. For example, she sometimes forgets days of the week.
Then she'll call me and say, you know, what'd you do all day? And I said, well, I worked. She said, well, on Sunday? I said, no, because I wasn't there, because I always go on Sunday.
Instead of trying to correct her mother, Lynn tries to meet her mother's emotional needs.
You know, because I don't want her to feel bad that I wasn't there, but because she thinks it's Sunday. So it's just like, okay, now we got more Sundays in the week. You just think, okay, that's one more notch in the backwards direction, I guess.
Lynn copes by educating herself, so the symptoms don't surprise her, such as when Marilyn repeats herself or asks the same questions again and again.
I go from being annoyed to accepting, and it's almost like a switch goes off. I can give you one little tip, you know? It's acceptance. She doesn't know that she's told you that 10 times, you know? So to say, well, Mom, you told me that, that's not the right answer. You just say, okay, you know, you don't say you told me that before, because she doesn't know she did. I guess that's how acceptance is.
And like other seniors her age, Marilyn battles her family for independence.
I get lonesome sometimes, but what I want, the one thing I want, I think, is my car.
What kind of car do you want?
Just with 4 wheels and a good motor.
Through it all, the family says that this late life transition developed into a season of joy.
Well, first of all, you gotta have love in your heart. I think, you know, really, as long as I have God in my life also, He's important to me.
I thank God that I've accepted all of this, that life could be so much worse than it is, and it is a privilege to be here, living in the same town, and being able to help her.
But I do love life. I love this area. And so I think I'll go on for maybe another night.
Are you touched by something you saw or heard on this program? Join us today in bringing the hope we have in Christ to viewers around the world. We would love to hear from you by contacting us at www.lifefocus.tv, where you can request prayer, sign up for our newsletter, or submit a story idea. And if you provide a gift of any amount, we will send you this free gift of 101 Bible promises for your every need. Thank you for partnering with us and allowing us to continue this ministry, telling powerful stories of where faith and life intersect.
So far, we've met Ed and Marilyn, navigating their golden years nicely, with a little help from their families. But many couples realize that their retirement age leaves plenty of full living ahead with a limited income. Joe and Barbara Vinci of Elmhurst, Illinois, say that thanks to careful planning, their golden years are turning out to be more fun than they imagined.
George Washington Bridge.
Joe Vinci wonders sometimes if he missed his calling as a lounge singer. Well, maybe not, but Joe and Barbara still keep their romance alive. After almost 50 years together, they learned a few secrets of a successful marriage.
It's a give and take situation.
Yeah, it is. But
I do things she doesn't care for, and she does things I don't care for, and we just respect each other, and you like that? Fine.
That's right.
But with almost 5 decades of commitment, they've learned to cherish and enjoy their differences.
Don't try to change the other person.
I like baseball, football, but he doesn't like football, and he doesn't like baseball.
Overlooking their differences in sports, Joe and Barbara work as a team despite Barbara's birth defect, a crippling deformity in her hands.
I looked at her for what she was and who she was. I don't pay any attention to the disability. It's not there, as far as I'm concerned.
Joe and Barbara met at a candy factory.
And she was the sweetest thing there.
Yeah, I was a typist and then I was a computer operator and I played the organ.
Joe says that even though he always knew how to charm the women, this one was a tough catch.
And if you think I'm good looking now, you should have seen me then. But she didn't like me, and I went to see her at the bowling alley.
When he came to the bowling alley, I certainly wasn't expecting him because, you know, I had a lot of other people I was interested in. And he says, well, can I buy you a drink?
From there sprung a fun-filled romance that led to courtship and marriage. Well, actually 3 attempted marriages. The first when they eloped to Kentucky.
And we went there, but we couldn't get married because we had to have a license, and we didn't have one, so we turned around and came back.
Eventually, they did tie the knot and began a fun-filled relationship.
Our wedding night, we went to roller derby.
You're so romantic.
Yeah. Well, we always went to roller derby on Friday nights anyway, so why change anything?
But after a couple decades, they realized they did change.
I came home from work. We moved to Bellwood, and I came home from work on our anniversary, and Joe said, I think I want a divorce. That's a nice anniversary present. It wasn't that we didn't love each other, we just grew apart. So we got a divorce, and
that's when we got the waterbed and we started drifting apart.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether absence makes the heart grow fonder or love springs eternal, separation didn't suit this roller coaster couple.
He kept coming over and calling, and finally in September, our divorce was final in May, and in September he said, what would you say if I asked you to marry me? I said, well, if you asked me nice, I'd say yes. So we got married this time in the church.
And though his marriage history with Barbara seemed unconventional, Joe worked as a tradesman and relied on old-fashioned common sense to provide for his wife. And he didn't miss one detail.
I did make pre-arrangements for our funeral services. And so we die, whatever it costs, we're not paying a penny more. It's all covered. It's like an insurance policy of a type.
He also prepared to face the next season of life.
I never made a lot of money. And because of that, I learned how to manage my money. And if we can't pay for it in full at the end of the month, I'm not going to buy it. If I don't need it, I'm not going to buy it. But I'm going to put money aside, have a cushion.
A cushion that allows him to embark on a fairly new concept, retirement home living, where virtually everything from cleaning to cooking is taken care of.
And they have various levels of care. They have independent living, assisted living, health care, and Alzheimer's care.
Care that lasts until the end of life. This retirement facility pays for all utilities and living expenses. The catch? Couples must pay a hefty down payment to buy into their condominium.
You don't own them. The ones that I researched, you don't own them. It's not like a condominium. You go in there and you put down a pretty hefty down payment.
At first, the cost of what seems luxurious living did not appeal to Barbara, until she imagined the relief from daily housework.
We didn't want to have to worry about cooking and doing the dishes and all those things that come with the homemaking.
Well, as a homeowner, we had to worry about real estate taxes, water bill, gas, light, heat. Our grocery bill has literally dropped 80%. Our savings coming here is over $12,000 a year. So it all evens out.
And the most difficult adjustment to living in a retirement community? The Vinceys needed to downsize from a 2,500 square foot home to this one-bedroom apartment.
In the process of downsizing, I got rid of a lot of things that were family heirlooms, but I just had to let go. I asked myself, when did I use this last? I don't know. When do I expect to use it again? I don't know.
Late life transitions expert Nan Hayes understands the grief to letting go of valuables, but says this phase allows couples like Joe and Barbara to transition.
It's not being fearful of an end. It's embracing a whole next step. And it's really learning to take all of our values and to take all of our beliefs and to share them with other people, because that's really how we're going to leave a legacy. The joy is in defining our legacy and having the time to do that.
And now, with retirement, Joe and his bride say they have time to enjoy their legacy and live with confidence of a secure third age.
This is like one big vacation. See how I'm tired? There, one big vacation. It's going to go on forever.
Through 3 families we met today, we were reminded that our lives consist of change. And knowing that you or your parents most likely will live well past retirement provides this opportunity to prepare for the golden season in life. Conventional thinking would have us see this season as something to fear. But the 3 families we met demonstrate that facing the future, even with its challenges, can be filled with meaning and purpose, and yes, even happiness. That's all for today's Life Focus. I'm Dan Meyer. More information about preparing for late life transitions can be found on our website. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.
Telling stories of hope is made possible by generous viewers like you. More information on this program or how to order this and other episodes can be found online at lifefocus.tv. Please refer to the name of the program on the screen. Life Focus is sponsored in part by the Salvation Army, also sponsored in part by Porchlight Counseling Services, the Cassid Foundation in memory of Elizabeth, Peter, Hank, Sam, Joe, and Ben Willis, CADCOR, connecting communities to reduce substance abuse and violent crime, and the Edgar and Elsa Prince Foundation, a civic-minded organization supporting the community through faith. Pricing and ordering information for a DVD copy of this program are available on our website or by phone. The title of today's program is on the screen.